Fake Boyfriend. Young Love, Book 1. Written by Suzana Thompson. Narrated by Paulina Schubert. Chapter 10. Seeing Damon the next morning seemed like a bad omen. He was picking up Courtney to drive her to school, and that appeared to be part of their plan to reveal themselves as a couple to our classmates. My stomach twisted with anxiety as I watched them leave in his car. Gage was going to find out about them, and what I had with him would be over. I should tell him before he heard it from anyone else. That way I would be in control of the situation, even if ending things between us was the last thing I wanted. At least I would save face and walk away with some dignity. If I didn't, then he would know that I was pathetically clinging to him without any good explanation. As I drove to school, I decided to first ask him if we could be friends before I told him the news about Courtney and Damon. I was going to seek him out by his locker, but he was waiting for me by mine. The sight of him made it difficult to remain focused on my intentions. He was just so attractive with his alluring eyes and sexual magnetism. All the erratic moments I had experienced with him this weekend came rushing back to me, and I flushed as heat flamed through my body. "Hey," I said, feeling like I was speaking in some kind of delirium. "Are we friends?" It wasn't how I meant to approach the subject with him, but I'd already lost the ability to think through a normal conversation. My words seemed to freeze Gage's expression for an instant before he reacted. "You want to be just friends?" he asked. "I'll give you what she won't," a girl at the next locker said and giggled. Blushing, she took off down the hall after apparently using up all of her daring to say that to him. Gage didn't even turn to glance at her, so I wasn't sure if he knew who had spoken to him. His gaze held mine as I blushed at the girl's implication. He stepped closer as his eyes blazed with fierce intensity. "I'm not going to pressure you, Sarah. You don't have to worry about that." "I'm not," I immediately answered in my flustered state as my gaze flitted away from his. "I'm I continued as an inkling of the conversation I'd wanted to have with him came back to me. "I just wanted to know if we would still be friends when, Aware now that other people might be listening, I forced myself to look at him and convey what I meant with my expression. "After," I stated quietly, while gazing steadily at him. His eyes slowly lost their intensity, and I felt the sudden distance between us even as we remained standing close. "Of course we'll be friends," he told me. His words should have reassured me. They sounded like he meant them. But there was something in his expression that made me feel like he was pulling back from me. He still held my hand as we walked to class, but I felt like it was really just for show. I had none of the romantic delusions I'd had when we walked through the halls together last week. It seemed like I could no longer fool myself into believing a ruse, even momentarily. At least he had agreed to be friends with me, but that didn't give me the satisfaction that I had expected to feel. As much as I knew that friendship with Gage was more than I could have hoped for, the truth was that I had foolishly begun to hope for even more than that. It hadn't seemed quite so impossible after I discovered that he was attracted to me, and I had thought that he might want to be more than friends. He obviously didn't, though, since he had so readily consented to friendship. Gage wasn't shy, so I knew that he wouldn't have any trouble telling me that he wanted more if he did, which meant that he didn't want to date me. That knowledge should have prompted me to tell him about Courtney and Damon and free him from this charade, but I said nothing. I justified it to myself by fixating on the possibility that Damon might still back out of telling people that he and Courtney were a couple. "I'll wait until it's confirmed," I told myself. Yet I still stayed silent about it after I heard people talking about them being together. I waited tensely through lunch for Gage to say something about it, but he never mentioned it, even when he walked me to class afterwards. Was it possible that he didn't know? I knew that he had no interest in gossip, so maybe he had tuned out all the talk about our new golden couple. Sooner or later, he would find out, though, so I should tell him myself before he heard it from someone else. I kept glancing at him later that day in the class we had together, but no words made it past my lips. When he noticed me watching him, he gave me a reserved smile and turned his attention to the teacher. What little resolve I had to talk with him withered with his silent dismissal. He obviously wasn't interested in engaging with conversation with me today. It was a surprise then when he spoke to me after class and invited me to go to the park with him. I promised to take you back during the day. Do you want to go now? I'm not scheduled to work today. Okay, I agreed, eager to spend as much time with him as I could while I had the chance. A part of me I didn't want to acknowledge was also eager to kiss Gage again. He smiled sheepishly at me. Great, but we need to take your car. I let my mom drive mine to work since I didn't need it today. Oh, I said, is something wrong with her car? She doesn't have one, he replied. She drives mine when she can, and gets a ride from a coworker the rest of the time. She gives him money for gas and everything, but I know she feels bad that he drives his car most of the time, so she likes to return the favor when she can. I couldn't imagine my mom not having a car. She and my dad had always had their own cars, as she and Daniel did now. I truly understood how different my family's financial situation was from that of Gage and his mom. The first thing I'm going to do when I make it big is buy my mom a car, he said as we walked into the student parking lot. Then I'm going to buy her a house. I really hoped then with my whole heart that he would make it big and fulfill his wish to help his mom. It was such a sweet and wonderful dream for him to have, and I was filled with warmth and affection for him as I imagined him making his mom so happy. You're a great guy, I declared, and then blushed in embarrassment at my overly enthusiastic exclamation. You're a great girl, he told me, and I risked a glance at him. Sarah, he said, giving my hand a little squeeze and pulling me to a stop. He let go of my hand and stepped in front of me so that we were face to face. I want you to be my girl. I stared at him, wondering if he could really be saying what I thought he was saying. I know you said you wanted to be friends, he continued, and I'll respect that if that's what you want. But I want more than that with you. I must be dreaming, I thought in a daze. My voice came out hesitant and small. Are you saying... I want you to be my girlfriend, he replied. I know that you don't need to pretend anymore since your stepsister got what she wanted. You know about that? I breathed. Yeah, he made sure to flaunt it in my face when he was with her. Like I wanted her, he scoffed. You don't? I asked. No, he declared. Did you really think I did? I didn't know what to think, I admitted. She's so beautiful and... Not on the inside, he said. You're beautiful on the outside and the inside, and you're the one I want. You chose me over him, but was that only because of her? Would you want to be with him if she wasn't in the picture? Damon? I questioned incredulously. Hell no, I can't stand him. Gage smiled in satisfaction before fixing his gaze intently on me. I like you, Sarah, and I don't want this to end. I don't know how you feel about me, and like I said, I'll respect your decision if you want to just be friends. An amazing feeling was coming over me as he waited expectantly for my reply, and my voice surged forth with excitement and exhilaration. Yes, I like you too! He responded with a big, happy smile. As more than a friend, he prompted for definite confirmation of what he obviously knew was my reaction. Yes, I answered, too happy to be shy about it. The same happiness was mirrored on his face, and he only looked away from me when the car we were standing in front of beeped at us to get out of the way. Gage's first act as my real boyfriend was the same romantic gesture he had first displayed as my fake boyfriend. He held my hand as we walked together through the school parking lot, and it felt even more perfect now than it had then. If this was a movie, music would have been swelling along with the happiness surging through me. Instead, there were sounds of cars starting and people talking and laughing, but it all sounded like absolute perfection to my ears in that moment. The sunshine was bright and warm, but a thunderstorm couldn't have doused my mood on that perfect afternoon. We stopped beside my car, and Gage gave me a rueful smile. I was going to do this by the lake, where it would be all beautiful and romantic. Perfect place to ask you to be my girlfriend. It was perfect, I told him. This is where it started, I added, thinking of the first time he held my hand. It did start in a parking lot, he laughed. When you chased me down, he teased with a grin. I grinned back, feeling secure now that I knew he liked me. Yep, You can hold it over me that I was just another girl chasing after you." His gaze became heated as he stepped closer to me. "But you're the only one I'll let catch me," he said as he leaned down to kiss me. My heart was pounding with excitement, but it was the promise in his words that thrilled me the most. He was really mine. Our pretend romance had turned into the real thing. Whatever happened now was completely up to us, and I felt like anything was possible. This has been Fake Boyfriend, Young Love, Book 1, written by Suzana Thompson, narrated by Paulina Schubert. Copyright 2018 by Suzana Thompson. Production copyright by Suzana Thompson.